Good morning, everyone. I'm Cynthia for Artbeads Cafe.
And I'm Cheri.
And we are live today. Yay!
Yay!
Today, we're going to show you how to knot. And the reason why we are live is because we love having your question and your comments. So this is a great opportunity to ask your questions if there is something you don't understand about knotting. And knotting is a very old technique, right, for pearls. But there are so many things that you can do with a knotting necklace.
Katie says good morning.
Hi, good morning.
The Artbeads account.
Yes. And one thing, if you like this video, please remember to share it and also to subscribe to our channel, artbeads.com channel on YouTube. We have so many other videos and tutorials like that you can look. So, shall we start?
Yes.
Okay, so what is knotting? And it's been used for so long.
Right.
And they used to do it for pearls mainly, right?
In fact, I have a strand here, if we can.
Cheryl says she loves nodding.
Oh, good.
So this is sort of a classic example of a knotted strand of beads. These are pearls, and there's a knot in between every bead. And in the reason that that's done is, especially on pieces that are of high value, if your strand were to break,
Right.
you don't lose all the pearls off the strand. They're all secured, each one in its own place.
Right.
And it also protects the pearls.
Right.
Rather than the pearls rubbing on each other, you've got that little knot in between. So that's the classic.
And it gives a look. Also, I really like the look of a knotting pearl. Also. And
It does, yeah.
yes, and it used to be that you have only like a white color thread, but now there are so many different color threads. So knotting is not just make a knot
Right.
in between. It's really playing with the thread and the knots too.
Using the color.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So here we have like amiyette thread. And I use the amiyette thread on this knotting necklace. So you see how I just went a little crazy with it.
In a good crazy.
I really had fun. So in this one I have some gemstones, some spacers, some check glass beads. I even have here I done a little charm, an elephant charm. And then the one next to it is a gemstone with a pendant at the end.
Laurel says that looks really hard to do.
It is
Not
not!
so hard. Yay, we're going to show you.
Yes, so we're going to show you. So we're going to show you 3 different ways to do it. I'm going to show you how to do it with a tweezer. And you need a very, very pointy tweezer like I have on this one. I love these tweezers. I use them for many projects, but they're great for knotting. And then Cheri will show us differently.
Right. We have a couple tools. This is a basic pearl knotting tool. And this is a pearl knotting tool, but it has this extension here which helps you create the spaces. For example, your necklace that you showed has spaces
Right.
in between. This, if you want a measured amount of space, same space over and over again, this tool is perfect for that. So we're going to show you that.
Yes.
And then we have a couple different bead reamers,
Right.
which comes into play off and on.
Kimberly says this is my jam, and Lynn says I love knotting. Haven't heard much about the amiyette cord.
Nice,
Ooh,
good,
nice.
good.
We love the amiyette cord. It comes in so many different colors. They're very pretty and very easy to knot with.
Sharon's asking, how is amiyette thread different from Ceylon or silk?
The Eslon is a little stiffer than the amiyette. Let me take this out if I can. So the amiyette is a little more, I would say, flexible. And this one, when you touch it, there is a little wax on it, so it's stiffer. But they both stretch a little, so you have to stretch them at the beginning. And then we have the silk thread that Cheri will use.
Right.
And Claudia says, I have the basic knotting tool, but cannot use it correctly. Please show me how to use
I'm
it.
going to show you, and I'm not a
Yeah.
pro. It's not something I do regularly, so it'll be very slow motion.
It must be good. Yes. So this is the silk thread. So Cheri, can you talk about those?
So I can pull a little bit off of here and show you. So this thread has a nice twist to it, and it comes with this twisted wire needle. You can certainly use, let's say you were to get silk thread on a spool and use a needle to string your beads, but this comes with the needle already attached, which is so convenient. It's super fine. So it's great for really fine small hold pearls and whatnot. This comes in a variety of colors. We have lots of beautiful colors and sizes. And this is kind of to show you the difference between the small end and the large end of the scale. This is a size 0, so very, very fine. And this is a size 16, which is quite heavy. And then there's all the sizes in between.
Right. Which size do you use?
I would say a 6 or 7.
Me too, yeah.
Those tend to be a nice average size to start with. Of course, it depends on the beads and pearls that you're going to be working with. But the thing about knotting is the knot needs to be bigger than the whole of your bead when it's finished. Otherwise, your bead will go right over it. So you've got to get the right cord, and it's got to fit through the pearls. And in some cases, it has to go through twice, which at least on your ends. And that's when reaming a couple of pearls helps. Your whole strand doesn't have to do that, but just those end pearls. So we'll show you a little bit about that too.
And Cheri, you're gonna show us how to use the French wire.
I am
to finish. Yeah. And me, I'm gonna use the bead tips. I'm gonna show you how to use this.
Yay!
So 2 different ways to finish your necklace too.
I love the bead tips. I think it's such an easy way.
I do too.
I love them.
I do too. Yeah. Okay, so let's start. So I'm going to start to show it, and I'm doing with tweezers. So like I said, I have a amiette, and so you need to figure out the length that you want. And I shouldn't do that long, because then it's going to take forever, because it would be too long. So I'm going to short that. And you see how you have those kinks here because of the card. So I like to stretch it first before I use it, and also because you're gonna make a knot, and then the bead's gonna have a little weight, so that's gonna stretch your thread. And since I want the knot to be really tight to the beads, I don't want any stretch happening when my necklace is done. So here I'm stretching, and as I'm knotting also, I keep stretching my thread. So first I'm going to start by using the bead tip. So the bead tip is this little piece here, and there is a hole here where your thread's going to go. Your knot is going to go inside, and then you close it, and you have those 2 loops here where you can hook a jump ring and then your clasp. So the beginning is pretty easy, because you just put your thread in. Let me take the other side, maybe like that, and then I'm just gonna make a knot.
Lynn asks, I always wax my threads, do you?
I don't, actually. I don't. Do you, Cheri?
Not very often. Sometimes.
Yeah, not on this one. So I'm gonna make a double knot here. Oops. And then this knot, didn't do this right, so I'm just gonna make another knot again. There we go. So I make sure it's pretty tight, and then this knot just gonna go in my bead tip in here. You can add a dab of glue inside, which I always do, and then you just cut your thread, and then you just close like
Christine's asking, why would you wax the thread?
For knotting pearls, I don't know that I would. I think it would attract grime and soil and things for pearls. You would wax your threads for bead stitching, to help your threads glide through your bead stitching.
Okay.
But I don't know that I would for knotting.
Yeah, me neither. I don't also. Okay,
So it's sort of, I'm sorry,
No,
it's sort of
go
like a little pearl inside of its little shell.
yes.
Your little knot, right?
So did you see how easy it was to close, and then you just put a jump ring here for your clasp. So what I like to do at the beginning is I'm making a knot here. So what you do is you grab, okay, so you grab your thread, and I put my thumb here, and I have my 2 fingers like that, and I open them like a V, okay? So I have my thumb holding my thread here, 2 fingers as a V, and I go 1 time, and I go a 2nd time here, okay? And then I bring that thread behind here and inside. So you see there is like a space here. So I'm gonna go behind and inside that space, pulling my thread, and I'm taking my tweezer, and I'm going very close to where my knots, where I want my knots to be. So now I'm releasing, oops, let me do that again because I just lost my knot. Okay, so I'm doing a V, I've got my thumb here, I go once, twice, and I'm bringing my thread here, and I'm taking my tweezers. Now
And you've
I'm
gone
releasing.
inside that loop with
Yes.
your tweezers. Whoops. It's being slippery.
I know, and it's warm in here, so I'm like, okay, let's do that again. And I'm gonna do it slower again later, don't worry about that. Okay, the first one a lot of time is kind of difficult because everything is too loose. And then when you start to have beads.
This is coming off the
Okay,
end.
yes, so you know what, I'm gonna add a bead right now.
Well, Terry has a question. What is
Yes.
the secret to adding more cording if you do not cut your initial piece long enough?
You know, I never did it. I will think that you just hold them with, you're just gonna have to make a knot.
A knot somewhere. If you could cross your threads between a bead, through a bead somewhere,
Yes.
so that the knots are to one side or the other. Maybe it just kind of depends on your beads, your holes, and your.
Yeah. So always err
cord.
on the side of longer.
Yeah.
If you're
Yes,
worried about
exactly.
If you can work off a spool, or just I think a general rule of thumb is like 1.5 times the finished length of your piece.
And and you have to remember that knots takes a lot of space too. Okay, so now I have a better grip like that. Okay, so I have my V. I go inside, bring the thread in, and then I'm bringing my tweezer close to where I want my knots, and then I'm holding here my thread. Oh,
It's such
You know,
a sturdy loop. Huh?
I know. And believe me, it is easy, but
It is.
because I'm live right now and everyone is watching,
Do you want me to be an hold the
So,
end? I can be an extension on your.
I think I'm getting.
got
There
it.
we go. No. Okay. There is
See
something.
how fast she
that-
loops that real time.
Okay, maybe if I'm there we go. If I'm on the table, and really it gets easier
There
and
you
easier. It's just the first one here, and like I say, you're all watching, so. So then what I like to do is I take my tweezer out, and I'm grabbing the loop here, and I'm just bringing this down.
Claudia said that thread is haunted.
I know. So this is my first knot. So let's do that
so
again. And I'm thinking like on this necklace, you see how I just I put some space here and there, and I'm not thinking about how the length of the space. I'm just doing randomly, and I don't worry about how far it is, not yet. So now I'm just making a knot, and I'm gonna bring a flower. Here for your thread, you can always put a dab of glue to make it like a little needle.
Oh, Anne says I find it even easier with a beading awl.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I'm holding here with my thumb. I'm making a V. I'm going around my index fingers. I'm going again, and I'm going in the back here, and I'm bringing my thread, okay, and then I'm bringing my tweezers where I want the knot to be, taking this off, and I'm pulling on the thread. I'm hoping it's clear for everyone. Let me know if it's not clear enough. And then I like to take this tweezer off and taking the loop and just bringing this down against my bead, and I like to really pull against my bead like that. Okay, I'm gonna make another knot here, and I think I'm gonna go with some spacers this time.
And you don't need tweezers for that initial knot.
No, for this one it's just a simple knot, so yes, you don't need tweezers at all.
Julie's asking, is that particular thread not needing to be waxed? It doesn't need to be waxed.
It doesn't need to be waxed. It's okay like that. So right now I'm adding those little brown nails. They're really cute with the gold spacers in it. And then let's see. I don't have luck with beads these days. Today. There we go. So I'm going to do this again. And then, like I said, the longer it gets, then you have a lot of beads and you have a weight on your thread, and it makes things much easier. So I'm holding with my thumb, I'm making a V with my fingers, and I'm going to go once and twice, and I'm going to go behind here, grab my thread like that. I go down with my tweezers, and I can't let it go, and I grab my thread that's hanging, and I'm making my knot. You see how it's easier and easier because I have the weight of the beads, and things are getting heavier, so it's easier to hold. And I'll
Lynn
just pull
said,
it.
because you said you were having trouble with beads, she said, some days are just like that, Cynthia.
Some days, yes. Thank you for understanding. And it's always when you are live also that things happening. Okay, and I do one more, and hopefully that was easy enough. So I've got my flowers here. I'm holding with my thumb. I've got my V. I go once. Sorry. Twice. My thread is in the back here, and I'm bringing inside that V, pulling on the thread. Now I have my tweezers. I want to separate the thread like that, you can see. My tweezers is grabbing the thread where the bead is on, and I'm holding here close to the bead. And now I'm pulling my thread, and it's starting a knot.
Yay.
And then, yeah, it's getting easier and easier. And again, you know, it's practicing. You have to practice.
Georgie has a tip. I find that if I put super glue just on the tip of my thread, it is easier to thread into my beads.
Yes,
definitely.
yes, that's a great tip. Thank you. So I do that, and so you see how, so I'm pushing on my knot, at the same time I'm pulling on my thread. That means that at the same time I'm make sure that I have knots, it's not stretching at all. So, was that easy, or do you want me to show you again? One more, let's do one more.
Do one more.
And I cannot stop, to tell you the truth, because this is so much fun.
It's fun. Those flowers are so cute. It's fun
are.
to see them grow on that strand.
Yeah.
So basically you're putting the tweezers exactly where you want the knot to be.
Exactly,
right?
yes.
Roxanne is asking, does this thread fray easily?
No, not that much. I mean, here, yes, when you cut it, but I never had a problem then when it's on, it's like that, no. So here we go, I've got my V, my thumb is holding the thread, okay. I go once, go twice, I go behind that thread here, in between the V, and then I'm grabbing my tweezer, and I go under the first thread, and I'm grabbing the second thread here, like that. I'm holding. Now I'm pulling on the thread, and I'm taking my knot, and I'm just pushing my knot on that bead.
Lynn loves the colors you are using.
Oh, thank you. So I hope that was easy. Then let me show you how to finish it. So I work on this necklace, and I just need to finish. And what you do is first you're bringing the bead tip inside.
Lorita says she loves knotting. Yay!
Yay!
And I'm thinking I'm gonna go here, and I do the same because it's difficult to make a knot, so I do exactly the same technique. I'm holding with my thumb, making a V once. Whoop, my thread is really small. I'm going in the back here, taking my tweezers. You see how I'm going under the first thread, and I need to go, well, my thread is really short here.
Jackie says, you make that look so easy. My fingers are not that limber.
Oh, like I say, it's just, you just need to practice. I didn't realize my thread was really small here, so that's why I'm having some trouble. There we go. So I'm going under the first thread, grabbing the second thread, and then I'm going to pull. Now you have to make sure that the knot is going inside that bead tip. Here is the knot is inside, and I'm just going to push that knot inside my bead tip.
Ooh, Maureen says she has some Red Creek jasper that would look great in the necklace style that you have here with all the deer.
Pretty.
Yes. So I'm thinking I want a second knot, so I'm going to do it again. So my V, I'm going in the back. I'm going under the thread, grabbing the second thread, holding everything. And then you see how the knot is on my tweezers. I can just grab that and push. And then I'm going to add some glue, cut the thread, and close my bead tip. And that's it.
Then you can add a clasp.
And I can add a clasp, yes. So I made this necklace, and that's really fun. And I didn't think at all about, I thought a little about the space that I wanted, but I didn't measure anything. It was just random.
Random and so
Yes.
cute.
Thank you. So if you find this way being a little too complicated, then you can have a look at Cheri. She's using the tool, and the tool makes things really easy to
It
write.
does, yeah. Once you get the hang of it, it goes pretty quickly.
Okay, so Vicky's moving around to get behind Cheri. Okay.
Okay, so I have pearls. These are about 8mm pearls, and this is about a size 7 cord. I did need to make the hole a little larger in the pearl that pearls I am using, and so this is the tool I use. This is a bead reamer, and very often these are Swarovski pearls will have a coating, and sometimes that's all you need to do is just kind of break that coating free of the hole. But sometimes you need the hole larger, and you should be doing this in water, but I don't want to do that right now. And the reason for that is it keeps the temperature and friction down. But basically, you just I'm twisting the pearl, but you can twist the reamer too. It depends on how you want to do it. And then I go back just a little bit because I don't want to fracture that coating and have it break off the pearl. So I kind of loosen it back up before I pull it off. And you just do that on both sides until the hole is the size you need. So real easy. And then, so I use the silk knotting cord, which has this wonderful wire needle on it already. And so with this needle end, I put the pearl on the strand, and then I cut a little piece of French wire.
On the other side of you.
Okay.
Because I feel like I'm in your space.
Okay.
There we go. This is the French wire, and it comes in different colors. It comes in silver and gold, and it looks like this. It comes in different sizes or thicknesses with a hole size, and you just cut a little piece off. It cuts really easily. It's a super, super fine wire. And so you just snip a little piece that you need and thread that on. I'm going to show you, though, what this looks like. It is kind of fragile. You need to take care because this is what it's just a coil. And so if you snag it, you can pull your coil apart. So you do want to take care when you're putting it on. So I pearl first, then the coil, and then I've got this sweet little clasp. I've added a jump ring to it, and I put that on my cord, and then I put my needle back through my pearl, and then all of this is slid down to within just a little, an inch or 3 inches or so from the end, and I put a bead stopper just in case. And so what I found, the trick with French wire is to kind of get it set up like this. So here's your pearl. You've got this nice even loop with the French wire in the middle and your clasp in place. And then, I'm sorry, Becky, I'm going to leave it sitting here, so I hope you can see that okay. I'm going to just slide this pearl up. I'm trying to keep this nice and even, and pulling one and one the other. And then you don't want to cinch it up so tight that you crush your wire. And then that makes I can go just a little further. There we go. Makes a nice finished loop. Now, if I wanted that loop smaller, I would just cut a slightly smaller piece of French wire.
It does finish really well. It looks really good.
Yeah, this is maybe just a little bit large, so maybe just a little smaller piece, but that has a nice finish. And so now what I'm going to do is make my first knot, and I'm going to do this without the knotting tool. This is just a basic overhand knot. I've got my tail and then my string end, and I'm just going to form a knot.
So you do a double knot.
It's full knot. And then you can, and you want that nice and tight. Later I'm going to put a dab of glue on it and trim that knot away, but I'm going to leave that tail on for now. And then I have my pearls strung on already. They don't have to be, but if you get fast at this, then it's nice to have them all there for you.
Deborah's asking, depending on the size of your thread, can you use wire guards instead of French wire?
Yes, and so I have some wire guards here, and this is what they look like. And these come in different sizes too. And so the thread needs to be able to fit through, you see those little holes there? Little holes. And then it wraps around this outside loop. So it actually, you can see it on the outside, but then this inside curve then protects your cording as it sits on your jump ring or your clasp ring from wear. So these are really nice, and another nice way to finish them. Definitely.
Good.
Okay, so now I'm ready. This is going to be a basic strand of pearl, so I've got my first knot there, and then I slide my next pearl up, and then I'm going to form a knot. This is how you would do it if you were doing it with tweezers too. I've got all my fingers in here, but you can just use 2 if you want. And then this is the tool, and it slides like this. This is the way to hold it, with your thumb on this curved section, this very sharp pointy needle away from you, and then you can see this, it's got this V in here. And so what I'm going to do is, it kind of makes sense that you would come in and catch it this way, but that's not how it works. It's a little more awkward than that. You come in from this side, and then see, it almost makes a twist on it, but you catch it from this side, and then the very first step, put your finger above that thread next to the needle. You don't want it on the tip because it's really sharp, but just next to it, and that's going to keep your thread from coming off. And then you're going to start pulling.
So you just pull on the thread.
You just pull, and as that knot kind of tightens up around there, then you position the section that you're pulling in this V, and you just pull it until it pushes that knot up. Okay, maybe if I show it from this side, you can see the knots just right there against the post. Nice and tight. And then as you're pulling it nice and tight and the pearl's where you want it, then you just push it off, still pulling, and then voila. You've got a nice finished pearl.
That was fast.
Yeah, super easy.
Let's see again.
So, sliding my next pearl in place. And I'm working, you can do this differently. I have my finished end here and then my stranded end here. So I'm right-handed, finished end in my right hand. So I'm pulling that finished end of pearls through my loop, flipping my hand.
So you
this
wrap
way
once around your fingers.
Yeah, and then I just kind of turn it so that this is to the outside where I can get access to it. Holding my tool thumb here, not this way to catch that thread. And then you just start slowly sliding that up so it's up against the post. And when it's near there, oh, I forgot to put my finger on there. Near there, then you can bring that into the V. You don't want to have your loop to the outside of that. You want to make sure that the loop is in between those two, and then you just slide it up.
And the reason why you put your fingers here is because sometimes the whole thing can go
you just
up
slide
and you're
right
losing
off.
your
Exactly. And then pull it tight and push while pulling.
Lucky says, I learned how to knot with tweezers, but switched to the tool so I can knot when we take road trips.
Oh,
excellent.
That's a great idea.
So one more time. Finished in my right hand. I'm going around 3 fingers, I guess. Pulling that through my loop to make, so basically that's just a knotted loop, right? Got my 3 fingers in there, flipping it to the outside so I can see it. Tool facing the right direction, catching it on the pointy post, putting the finger to your side, getting that knot up towards the post, but between the little bead section so you can see. And I actually like to kind of, sometimes it doesn't slide as well once it's in that V. It just kind of depends. You'll get the hang of it. Pulling it up tight, sliding it off. And then see how pretty those are. Just really nice, tight knots in between. So easy.
It is, and I can see how fast you can be with that tool.
You can.
When you
I'm not, but yeah, once you get rolling, I think you get that whole action of the knot and the pulling and the sliding all going at once.
Again, it's all about practice.
Exactly.
Like I said, with the tweezers, I go pretty fast too, but it's just practicing. So I'm curious about the other tool because I tried and I couldn't get it. So I'm really excited to see you explaining again.
Julie has a question first. Does this tool create a certain kind of knot, and does it matter as to what the knot looks like?
It makes a basic overhand knot. So just that standard overhand knot, you know, where you just make that loop and pull it tight. That's what it's doing.
And you want your knot to be really tight, right?
Yes, and the reason why this tool is really great also is because the knot gets really close to your bead. So you don't have any space in between the knot and your bead, which doesn't look really good. And the tool tied up things very well.
Exactly. Yeah. Nice and real secure. You've got that a little bit of leverage with it, which is nice.
Sarah said, I bought this tool many years ago. I haven't used it yet. Now I am inspired.
Yay! Yeah, me too, actually. I've had it for years, and but I don't use it a lot, and I'm thinking, why not? have I been doing? So on this piece, I've got it started already, but threaded my needle through this little bead. I had to ream the holes to make them a little bigger, and then through my loop on my clasp, and then back through my pearl. And I made that first knot by hand, just like I did in the other strand, just knotting it by hand.
Mm-hmm. Lucky's asking, is a magnetic clasp too heavy for the thread? She was thinking about making a wrap bracelet.
So it depends on the beads that you have, I think. This is a magnetic clasp, and this is going to be a fairly long strand, and this clasp has a little bit of weight to it. I do have a couple beads up close to it, and I think it's suited well for this.
Right.
If it were a heavier piece, then you would worry about maybe the magnet not being strong enough.
Right.
So it just kind of depends, but you could certainly use a magnetic clasp. So in this necklace, I have these different sections, and I have even spaces in between. Let's say that's what you want.
Right.
Right.
It looks really good.
It does, yeah. In your case, you were going for a different look, but these are even. If you were doing it old school with tweezers, then you would make this knot, this first knot after your bead, or whichever pearl you want. This is my end pearl. So you'd make that knot, and then you'd have to measure with a ruler.
Yes.
And then you make your loop, and then you got to place the tweezers exactly where that spot is, and make that knot.
Yes. So you're never sure.
You're never sure. Yeah, you can get pretty close. And so that's what this tool does so nicely for you, is it gets those spaces the same every single time.
Right.
And so I've done a few sections so you can see what it's supposed to look like. And
Lisa says that she loves that you can load the pearls on the thread in advance.
Yes, yeah, because like I said, once you get good at it, then you can just keep going. And you can even kind of have them up in your hand and near your hand and ready to go. So what I have is a knot, a pearl, a crystal rocks segment, which is so cute. This is a Swarovski, and I just love the colors in that. It was so fun. And then another pearl, and then a knot.
Right.
So my very last knot was right here after my pearl. And I'll do this a few times too so you can see how it works. So my next knot needs to be somewhere around in here. Right. And I don't have to worry about it because my tool is going to do that for me. So this tool is basically the same. It operates the same. It's got same pointy post, same V, same thumb thing, but then it's got this extended piece with this second section with a V in it. And this is adjustable. This has a little screwed end, and the tool comes with one of these, so you can adjust this screw, and you can slide this anywhere along here to get whatever size gap you want, which is cool.
So you think at the beginning, so you could measure at the beginning, I think this is the space that I want, and then you adjust your tool to the space, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
And then tighten it up, and then from then on, you'll get that space over and over and over again, which is wonderful.
Yes.
So here we are, and I want my finished end in my right hand. I'm right-handed. Thank you. And I'm going to make, so my next loop's going to be somewhere in this gap, right? So I'm going to make my loop in there like that. I'm pulling my finished work up through that loop, getting all my beads through. So basically I just have this loop, right? Just a standard loop. And we don't want to go this way. We want to go this way, which can be a little awkward at first, especially with this length. And then you want that to, you want to clear that. See how I kind of made that twist there? Got my loop, finger to the needle, and then I'm going to start pulling that loop up to the needle, and then I'm going to get that behind the V, and then here's the trick.
Okay.
The beads are to the outside of here. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, never mind. Yeah, that's exactly right. Phew, I had to second guess myself. Okay, and then you're gonna pull. Whoops, pull. There we go.
I see.
I was so close to it that it didn't look right. So now this is stopped at my last segment that acts as a stopper at that last bead. Here's my knot. Should keep my finger there so it doesn't come off. And I pulled it as tight as I can to get this up against there. So then while pulling this nice and snug, I'm going to push that off.
And then you can.
And there it has made my knot right where I want it.
Okay. So if I understood well, because of this,
I'll do it a couple times. So
you have the bead here. That means, and that stop the bead and stop the knot.
Exactly. See?
To go further.
Right there.
That is really cool.
So I'm sliding up my next group of beads. So there's the knot that I just made, and then I've got my pearl, my crystals, and my beads. I'm going to make my next knot.
So that goes on your right side, right? Okay.
Yeah, I'm pulling the finished work through the loop. Get my little pearl there. Okay, so here's where this time I want the knot right up against that pearl.
Right.
And I've made my loop just like usual. And I'm going to catch it from the awkward opposite direction that makes sense. Putting my finger on that post, but this time I don't want that gap between my beads, right? I want my knot right up against that pearl. So I'm just going to ignore this whole business on the end, and I'm just going to slide that right up.
So it's exactly
all the way.
Like the other tool.
Exactly. You're just using this end of the tool by itself, pulling that nice and snug, and pushing that off. So this was the spaced knot, and then this was the knot, using it as if it didn't have that extension on it.
Okay.
So I'll do it another,
please.
One more. This time we want, this time we want the knot spaced right out here somewhere. So I'm looping around. Okay. Made my loop. Can you see that? Just normal loop, but I'm turning my hand this way so I can see this surface. Tool facing the right direction, catching it from the back side, we'll say. And then you've got to clear this around, putting the finger there to keep the thread in place, pulling the knot closer to the needle, but this time hanging my other section off the end of this other V, and then catching that through there so it's all lined up, and then pulling until it's up against those beads.
Elka's asking what kind of thread is this?
This is the silk cord.
Yeah, Griffin silk.
Griffin silk.
Yes.
Yeah. And this is about a size 7, I think I'm working with. So there's my knot. And my beautiful space, same as my other space, which is so wonderful about this. And then again, sliding my next group up there. Okay, I got this twisted around here. Get that over there. There we go. So this is my next group of beads. I want the knot right up against the pearl this time. So I'm making my loop, pulling my beads up through. And I do have to say, this is a magnetic clasp, and so when I was working at the short end, the magnet wanted to stick to this, and so you have to kind of fuss with that for a minute. That's kind of the thing about magnetic clasps. But once it's away from it, it doesn't matter. It's just that first couple.
Sorry,
that's okay. Okay, so again, knot's going right up against this pearl. I've made my loop. From the outside, I'm catching the needle. I'm swinging that around for clearance. Finger to the side of the needle. This time I don't want to engage that. I want to just use it right up against the needle like the other one. Getting that over the V and then pulling until it's tight. and pushing off. And there's another beautiful knot.
That looks so great.
Yay!
That
yeah,
is
super easy.
Yes, yes. And I think the problem that I had is the first knot you use the 2 knots, right? And the second knot you use only this one. And I was trying to use the 2.
Okay.
So I couldn't get my knot. I couldn't understand. But that makes sense.
And I think one of the other little tricks is just to make sure that you get your loop closed up around this.
Okay.
And so that it's between the 2. It would be easy to get it to this side of it. And you don't want that. It's got to be between the 2. So you just go slow to begin with, and then once you get rolling and you understand where everything needs to be, then you can speed up.
That is really great.
Yeah,
Wow,
it's a great tool.
I'm gonna have to try that again because I couldn't get it at the first time. But again, like we say, it's all about practicing, right?
Right.
And Cheri, you wanted to talk about this necklace
I
too?
do. So this necklace belongs to Katie, and she mentioned that it has stretched out. So you can see it's a knotted. These are Baroque pearls, meaning they're all slightly irregularly round, and you can see how it has stretched out here. You've got these big gaps. And so it is ready to be restrung.
Right.
And so how do you go about doing that? And so one of the first things I want to mention is if you've got a strand of pearls, now these are Baroque. They're meant to be irregular in shape and size. But let's say this was a strand of 8mm round pearls. Because one pearl measures 8mm doesn't mean the next pearl measures exactly 8mm. It might be 8 1/4. It might be somewhere in between. It might be slightly bigger than that. And so when a piece comes from a store that's been strung, they will get that very largest bead in the center, even though they're technically all the same size. They aren't, or might not be. So they'll be measured, and then they'll evenly distribute the pearls around, getting from large to small.
Right.
So you're going to look at this and say, oh, these are all the same, and then you're going to cut them all off, and then string them all on in a slightly different order, and then pretty soon it doesn't look as smooth as it did before. And that's possibly why. So then a couple things to keep in mind is these are roughly all the same size, but it could be a graduated necklace. And let's say it's pretty dirty and it really needs to be cleaned. How do I go about doing that before I string it? And there's a couple different ways. Anytime the pearls are dyed, you need to be careful about cleaning and how you're going to clean it. You don't want to clean it after it's been restrung. You can attempt to clean it while it's on the existing strand and then cut the pearls off. And then there might be a little bit of cleanup in between after the fact. Or you can cut them all up, keep them in the order that they're supposed to be in, and then just temporarily string them on a strand. No knotting, just string them on, secure it so they don't fall off, and then you can gently wash the pearls that way and get them nice and clean. And that temporary cord can even act as a cleaner to get the holes clean, because very often stuff gets inside the holes. And then now your pearls are all in order and they're all nice and clean. You can pull that strand out and then put them on your new strand, and then off you go. So yeah, just some little things to think of before you cut everything off and mix them all up.
And I want to add something also. If you have some real pearl, like coming from from oysters, so some really real pearl, never hesitate to wear them as much as you can. And a lot of people, sometimes they have the real pearls and they're expensive, so they're scared to wear them, so they tend to just leave them in a box. But those needs the oils
from
your skin.
Right.
So please wear them. Otherwise they're gonna lose
they sort of dry.
Shining.
Yes, they dry.
Lisa asks, what do you recommend for cleaning the pearls?
I think it depends on the pearls themselves. If they're genuine pearls, you can use just a real mild detergent, like what would I use? Like a Dawn or Palmolive or something. Just a real gentle cleaner. You can use I know the name of it. It's a laundry soap that's real natural and comes powdered. I can't think of the name of it. Not borax. That has a kind of a grit to it.
Okay.
It's an actual soap.
Oh, okay.
But just something really mild. You don't want perfumes
Yes.
and stuff on the coatings of the pearls.
Yes. For any
And-
pearls, you know, if you put your necklace and then you have your perfume, don't do that because you
Yeah.
don't want any perfume on your pearls. That will damage your pearls.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yes.
And these won't last forever. I mean, you certainly could wear the same strand year after year after year after year,
Right.
as long as it doesn't fall apart. But that doesn't mean it looks good. And just, after years of wearing, you might not notice that it's just starting to stretch a little and the cord is getting a little dingy. But then when you restring it and you see it's just all nice and clean and tight
Yes.
and sturdy again, it can make a big difference.
It does, yeah, it does, yes. Well, that was really fun to see those tools. I never used the one that with the space, and I think this is such a great tool.
It's
I love
a great
it.
tool. Yeah.
I love it. I need to try it again.
Me
I
too.
tried it once and I couldn't get it, but looking at Cheri now, like, wow, that looks pretty easy, and I can't wait to try it again. So hopefully we got inspired. You got inspired by our knotting technique today. Knotting is really fun. If you haven't tried it, please try it. It's something. It's relaxing.
It is relaxing.
I don't know why I find it relaxing because you just knot and you just your mind.
Gail says I'll have to try this.
You have to, Gail.
Yes, it's really, really fun. Well, thank you so much for joining us today at Artbeads Cafe. Please remember to share this video on Facebook or even on our YouTube channel, and subscribe to our channel to see more of our videos too. And you can also subscribe to our email newsletter, which is really good because you will see that we have a lot of promotion on our website, and we have also a lot of jewelry ideas and more videos.
Right.
Well, thank you so much. Merci beaucoup. Au revoir. À bientôt.
Bye-bye.